Hey, my name is Erin. This video is conjunction with a final project I have to do for my sustainability class. I had already previously been planning on moving into my car this year, so we're still early in that process, but I thought this would be an interesting opportunity to show sort of a compare of contrast of amount of waste in more of a typical living situation versus a living in your SUV situation. Alright, so this is I call it my van, but it's actually an SUV. It's a Ford hybrid Escape. I have jumper cables. These are coverings that go on my windows. This material in here, let me see if I get that in focus, there you go, is called Reflexix. It's sort of a trick insulation that helps to keep the cold out in the winter and the warm out in the summertime. It also gives me privacy. I can put it on the windows at night when I'm sleeping and it keeps light from going in or out. This is my closet. It's actually made from a dresser drawer that I found walking with a friend in Pittsburgh. All my clothes are in here. I've attached tacks to the sides, and this is just a basketball hoop that sort of keeps everything where I need it to be when I'm driving. This box rests on a piece of wood right here, and then it's also, I have a hook attached, and then it's attached to the back of my seat, so it's not going anywhere when I'm driving. What choices will you make to decrease the impact of your heating energy and electrical use? So that's kind of the sweet thing about a car. Here is my solar. It's the most sort of essential part of making my whole setup work. It's dusk now, so we're not getting not a great light, but it unfolds like this when I'm driving. It just folds in half and I can put it in the back, but when I'm trying to use it, it unfolds like this. There is a cable attached that goes to the energy bank. It's fully charged because I had it charging during the day, but you can sort of see it here. On this screen here, it tells me how much battery we have saved in the bank. It says how much we're getting in, so like how much light is coming through the solar. Right now, not really anything because it's about to get dark out. And then if I had something plugged in, it would tell me here how many watts it was going out, which is really useful to know. So something like when I'm using my hot plate to cook food, you know, that can use, you know, up to like 20 watts. So you have to move quick and not use all your battery. A heater is similar. A light, you know, that uses something more like 2 or 3 watts, so it lasts longer. A phone uses like 13 watts. So it's really interesting to sort of know your energy usage at all time and to sort of track that, but to also know that, you know, tomorrow it'll be sunny and you can recharge again. That's actually how my light is working. Is the energy that was saved in here from the sun runs through the cord and I can plug whatever I need into it. That includes a heater, and that can include a heated blanket. This model can only do up to 500 watts, which is basically the least amount of watts I could really get away with. They do sell heaters with that much watts. I think I'm going to rely mostly on heated blanket. I'll let you know after the winter how successful this is, but it is pretty wonderful. The prospect of all my heating is going to be from a renewable resource. It's going to be from solar. Same with electricity. I can charge my phone on there, I can charge my computer on there, and obviously I can run my lights off of there. Just for context, here is a chart of sort of an average person's fuel use. This was through data that I had on myself. So it has the heating in the blue, then it has food, but the important thing is transportation, electricity, and heating. With this new model of using solar in my car with insulation, the food is going to stay pretty similar, the goods is going to stay very similar, although I do kind of feel like I buy less here because there's nowhere to store anything. but the heating and electricity can be knocked out almost completely. It is shown on here. This is sort of the setup for if I am what's going to be more like my school year setup of being parked most of the week and then driving on the weekends. Sometimes that is affected, like right now I'm on a pretty long road trip where I'm definitely using a lot more fuel than that tiny gray line. What choices will you make to decrease the impact of your use of consumer goods? Well, an interesting part about living in your car is that there is nowhere to put your waste. You know, you have to be very aware of how much waste you're using because you're the one that has to find where to put it. So like on the road, that means having garbage bags with you. Right now I'm at a campground and it's nice because I can like put it in the dumpster, but all that to say, I try to buy things that are reusable, just to save money in general, but also so that I don't have to have a lot of disposable goods around me. You know, I wouldn't buy a lot of little water bottles. I have like a giant gallon water, and then I have my little water bottle that I keep refilling from the source. What choices will you make to decrease the impact of water use? This is sort of another thing that is an advantage of living in your car, I guess. I have gym memberships where I just go shower there. I shower at friend's house. So it's not so much that I'm not using water, but it is that I'm using water from shared spaces. And I also use it much less frequently than I think a person in the typically scheme of things, would. I'm still using a lot of water in the sense of food and consumer goods. This is a chart of sort of your typical water usage. So I just crossed out household because those are the things I use in shared spaces. But I do eat largely vegetarian in my van, which we'll talk about I think in the next segment. But non-meat foods require less water to create because you aren't keeping another animal alive. So that would also help with the food section. Obviously it's not as effective as a refrigerator, but it does save a heck of a lot more energy. So I got some cream cheese and tomatoes in there for sandwiches, some leftovers food, and then some like frozen to help keep it cold, and then I just keep this shut as long as possible to help keep that in. A couple frozen water bottles in there I can normally last about 2 days before refreezing it again. So I eat a lot of vegetables and a lot of dry goods because of that. This all in all is from an environmental standpoint quite good, since meat does contribute a lot of carbon. Transportation. What choices will you make to decrease the impact of your transportation? Sort of my process right now is I'm in the middle of a really long road trip. I'm from Michigan, but I'm in New York right now near Ithaca. So lately I've been driving a lot. I've been driving between 5 and 7 hours a day. And that burns a lot of gas, which contributes a lot of CO2. It is sort of nice because when I get to where I need to be, I use biking as my main source of transportation. So I'm on my way to Vermont. When I get there, I will be parked for about a month. The car I have a 2008 Ford Escape hybrid. So that hybrid element does help a bit with gas and not having to burn quite as much, but it's still quite significant, the amount of carbon that I am contributing through driving. That's unfortunately just sort of how it is. I hope that you've enjoyed this tour and this information has been helpful for you. I haven't been doing it for long, but having my car set up this way has given me a lot of freedom and control over how I want to spend my money and sort of the amount of carbon and waste I want to contribute to this world. So yeah, if you're thinking about it,